That's all for me. Emily and Aaron, take it away.
All right, thanks, Madeline, and welcome everyone to List to Last in 2024. I'm MAPS Executive Coach Aaron Simons with my co-host, Executive Coach Emily Baker. And Emily, we're gonna have some fun today, aren't we?
We are.
It's gonna go fast. It's gonna be furious. Again, like Madeline said, if you have any questions as we're going through it, put them in the chat. Now, we're gonna go fast, so we'll do our best to get to those questions. But Emily, tell everyone a little bit about your background on the listing side.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. My name's Emily Baker. I'm a MAPS executive coach. I co-lead the Mega Listing Agent with my partner here, Aaron, and I'm based out of Springfield, Missouri. I got into real estate a little bit over 10 years ago and started in lead generating specifically for listings, built a massive Mega lead gen team that set over 75 listing appointments with signing over 50 listing appointments every single month. So listings is the name of the game. It's my favorite part of real estate. And I'm happy to share some of what I've learned with y'all today.
50 listings a month. Wow. And so I'm in San Diego. I got into real estate. Emily, 20. I'm going on year 20, my 20th anniversary selling real estate. And like you, we were setting about 25 listing appointments a month, right? We sold over 1,200 listings. And we're excited to share some of that knowledge for you guys today. Now, as we're going through some of the material, here's what you guys need to know. This is not theory. This is not, coming from the ivory tower. This is, right, tried and true. Emily and I are both in the trenches, right? We know what's going on out there. So we're going to share with you in real time what's working right now to take more listings. Is that right?
Yep, that's exactly right.
All right. So after today, by the way, before we jump into it, what else do we have coming up over these next couple of weeks?
Yeah, so we have 2 more free promos. You guys, if you haven't already registered, go ahead and scan those QR codes and you'll get the recordings on them. It's The Price is Right. Aaron, pricing with sellers right now. Whew.
I know, The Price is Wrong is what we should call it.
And then take more listings now. So we'll focus on how to overcome seller uncertainty and some of the market objections that we're experiencing out there in that one.
Right on, right on. All right, so what's next?
All right, so first off, for you to crush your listing goals in 2023, we all know the bold law, what you focus on expands, right? We've got to identify what our top 3 levers are for listing sources. What I want to share with you all here is that there's no right or wrong, okay? So what I would suggest is do what you love to do. Life is too short to do something that you hate. Focus on what it is that gives you energy, that you have natural skill set at, and don't focus on what everyone else is doing. Focus on what you love to do. Because I promise you, if you don't love doing it, you are not going to be consistent at it, right? We all know, right? When you hate the lead generation method, you just don't sustain it. You just stop doing it. So focus on the sources, and I would choose 3 to diversify. Aaron, we see this all the time with top listing agents across the country that we work with and with ourselves. What are you seeing as the top sources for listings right now?
Yeah, and this is, we have to think about who's actually selling, because we all know the biggest challenge out there with inventory is that a lot of homeowners are handcuffed with the 3% mortgage and they're not giving it up. So when we look out there at who's actually selling, 75% of the listings are made up of three categories: boomers downsizing, seniors transitioning, and families inheriting property. This is across the board. I don't care what agent, what team you go to. This is where 75% of the listing opportunities are coming from. Now, Emily, there's a 4th one coming on strong. Mm-hmm. And the 4th one that's coming on strong in a big way are people who are having financial challenges. Are you seeing the same thing? Consumer debt is at an all-time high. By the way, if you guys don't know, car payment defaults are at a historic high. And people are having some serious challenges. And so we're seeing debt coming on fast and strong as well. The 3, Amber, just to repeat, boomers downsizing. And by the way, and boomers are defined as people born between the years 1946 and 1964. Do not confuse them with their parents, who are the seniors, dubbed the greatest generation. And boomers they're doing different things. Some of them are selling their 2-story homes and downsizing. They take that extra money and it allows them to retire early. They take that extra money and they're helping their kids buy homes, because we know down payments are a challenge, right? They're taking that money, Emily, and they're buying a second home in Florida or Arizona or somewhere fun. Or they're taking that money and they're helping their grandkids go to college without debt. So, and another version of a boomer downsizing is mom and pop landlords who have owned rental property for the last 20 or 30 years. Well, keep in mind, as they hit their 70s, they might not need that income the way that they did. So they're selling off their rental properties, taking their proceeds, putting it, in the bank where they're earning 5%, right? Without all the noise of rental properties. That's another version of a boomer downsizing. So that was number one. Number two was seniors transitioning. So these are seniors who are moving out of their homes and into a facility, right? Like an assisted care, independent living, memory care. And then the third one, Amber, was families inheriting property. Loved one has passed on and they're inheriting that property via a trust or via probate, and they're selling those properties. Those were the three where we're seeing 75% of listings coming from are some version of that market. Anything you want to add to that, Emily?
Yeah, just the debt is a huge one, like you said as well. That's a big bonus. So cultivating relationships with professional referral opportunities to target those demographics is going to be a huge opportunity. The other thing is finding the inventory, right? So sending out letters, mailers work, y'all. So mailing properties, whether that's postcards, whether that's golden letters, whether that's home evaluations, that's a big one. The other one is expireds, because and for sell by owners, because as we've seen, the markets are changing and properties are sitting and they are expiring. So we're seeing a very large increase there as well.
Yeah, can we talk about that one for a minute? Because, we started out the call by saying there's no one way, right? There's no one way to skin the cat in real estate. We want you to do something that you enjoy doing. And when people hear expired, Emily, the first thing they think is what? Phone call, right?
Cold call. Yeah.
Cold call. And look, that's how I grew up, but that's not comfortable for everybody. And what you have to remember is that you can go after expires by more than just a phone call.
Right.
One thing that we're noticing is not very many people are using direct mail to target expireds. Mm-hmm. One thing we're also noticing is not very many people are door knocking expireds as they're coming off the market. I mean, there's an opportunity here. And Emily, when you look at the properties that have expired in 2023, we know from data that 75% of expireds come back on the market.
Right.
And here we are at the end of the year. We know they're probably not going to come on the market this week or next, but all those expireds that haven't yet come back are probably looking at 24 to come on the market, which means they're thinking about it now. So I would say there's never been a better time to go after that source by whatever method you're comfortable with. If it's phone call, TCPA do not call compliant, of course. If it's direct mail, oh, come on, some great letters that we can send them. Or if it's door knocking them, you pick your method, but it's a great source right now.
That's exactly right. Or the bonus there, you can DM them. I have a lot of clients that are DMing on social media. They're finding them on social media and direct messaging, because they are one of their levers of their sources that they love is social media, right? So yeah.
Thank you for saying that one. I always forget social media. It's the shiny object that everybody loves. So if I was going to do that, walk me through what that method looks like.
Yeah. So most of them, they friend them first, right? So they send a friend request. Most people accept friend requests. That's why everyone has thousands.
Well, how do you know you're finding the right person? Like, you go to the tax record, you see, John Smith. How do you know you're finding the right one?
You just say, hey, after you friend them, you just say, hey, I'm in real estate. I saw that you had a property. Are you the owner of blah, 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 the address? So you just start with curiosity. Do you happen to own 123 North Main Street? And they're going to say yes or no. It's no different than if you were to text them and say that same thing. Now, if you have again, TCPA compliant, if you have a Mojo dialer or a Vulcan 7 or RedX or LandVoice, a lot of those do generate emails nowadays. And that makes it really simple because you can just copy and paste the email from the dialer where you're sourcing the data and search for that email in Facebook or whatever social platform that you're using, and it will associate the email with the user.
That's what I wanted people to hear. So if you're using some I don't know, data lookup tool, whether it's one of those or like a People Search or People Finder, Zaba Search, there's a bunch of them at whitepages.com, right? You can in essence potentially, if you find their phone number, great. You may want to call it, you may not, but it'll give an email that you then put into Facebook. Someone else DM on what? Facebook, right? And then it'll find the user with that email.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the piece I wanted them to hear.
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. So first you identify your top sources. Next, you've got to know your goals. Listing signed goal and listing conversation goal. We know that what we measure moves. What I suggest in this area is that you have a weekly visual. So fun fact for us, we used to use our tried and true Post-it notes. And so we would have a Post-it note and we would put, if our listing taken goal was 10 for the week or 7 or 3 or whatever your listing signed goal is, we would number the Post-it note with that, so we would put up 3 Post-it notes and we would pull them off every time that we would get assigned. Now, here's the thing. If we didn't hit the signed goal, guess what stayed on our door? The Post-it notes. And guess what? They would go up again, and we would have to make up that difference. And so it's a really good visual, y'all, just making it simple on your door. For us, it was office accountability because everyone in the office could see and everyone would always ask us, what are these Post-it notes? And so people would, make jokes and be like, oh, you're behind on your listing sign goal, right? It's just good camaraderie. And yet that was our accountability where it was visual, where we knew. And the thing is that Gary says, for teams who hit your listing signed goal, you will hit your year-end closing goal. We know we've got to lead with listings. We know that listings generate buyers. And so the listing goal is the listing sign goal is the one thing that I would track on a visual where it's always in front of you.
The visuals are a great hack because we all get into real estate because we want the freedom and flexibility, right? To be our own boss, to earn as much money as we want. And yet it's a double-edged sword because with that, freedom and flexibility comes a huge responsibility. And what many of us find is that it's not that easy to be our own boss, right? We always are letting ourselves off the hook. So Emily, by having that visual, whether it's, Post-it notes, whether it's the great Dave Norberg used to have like pennies on his desk, right? That he would move, or, marbles into a jar. People use like M&M, I'd eat them, whatever, right? Whatever that visual is, it's a great accountability hack to be able to hold yourself accountable.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep. And listing conversation goal is the other thing, right? Is a lot of us have gotten away from having conversations or tracking conversations, and no closing has ever generated that didn't start from a conversation in real estate.
So even if you don't like calling people, at some point you got to talk to them, right?
That's right. Yep, that's exactly right. All right. And so Aaron and I have formulated, and the Mega Listing Agent, we teach a really simple win the day play. So how do you know if you're winning or losing? Not based on results. A lot of times we put our effort into a result, and sometimes you can't control the result, right? I can have as many conversations as I need to have, and yet I can't control if someone's going to schedule an appointment with me. I can't control if that person's going to sign the agreement, right? You win through the activities. It's no different. I think all of us can relate to weight loss in this. you can't control how much weight you lose by when you lose it. What you can control is the effort of going to the gym, hitting a step goal, right? Eating a specific way. So we've got to change our mindset a little bit and turn it upside down and focus on the win being in the activity that we're doing, knowing that the results will show up based on the activity. But we have to do the activity, right, Aaron?
Hands down, hands down.
So win the day play, walk us through it.
Yeah, so number one, it's role play. No matter where we are in our careers, whether we're in year 1 or year 20, we're role playing daily. And here's one thing that I think people get caught up on, Emily, is that sometimes they're always looking for, well, I don't have a partner, this partner canceled on me. You can role play with yourself. You know the conversations you're going to have. You know the responses you're going to receive, right? We know where we're not as strong as we want to be. Actors, before they ever get to dress rehearsal, are role playing with themselves to learn their lines, to internalize it. So it's okay to use yourself as a role play partner. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then number 2 is the conversation goal. Now, what would you say? Because I hear a lot of interesting stuff around this. If I had to have a goal for how many conversations, not follow-up, but new conversations each day, what number would you say that should be for a great listing agent?
Well, I would say 20 is the standard. And yet what I would also say to that is I believe that the path is in the math. So if I know my listing signed goal and my listing appointment goal, good rule of thumb, y'all, is just to take that listing appointment number and divide it by 2.5%. And that's your conversation goal. So that's your absolute minimum, right? And rule of thumb, if somebody didn't know what those numbers are, it's 20.
And now when you say 20, it sounds like a lot. And yet we know we're in, today is different than 20 years ago. What percentage of those 20 can be electronic, like a text message or a DM, right? Where we're having a two-way conversation?
Half.
Yeah. So half of those conversations, it's okay if it's digital. In fact, they probably should be given, the age that we're in, correct?
That's exactly right.
All right. Now, what's number 3?
So number 3 is you either attend a listing appointment, right? So we have a listing consultation with a seller, or if you don't have an appointment in the afternoon, you choose one of these 5 things. You only choose one. What we find a lot in getting started on focused on listings is we can get easily distracted, right? We don't have an appointment. So we either create busy work or we decide to go run errands, right? Or we find ourselves at Target or whatever, right? This is a good place for you to start on. I either do 5 follow-ups, I have 5 new conversations, and I write 5 handwritten cards. Or I do a power hour of a lead generation source of choice. You could do 5 pop buys to, again, your source of choice, database, allied resources, professional resources, for sell by owners, expireds. We were just talking about door knocking. You could post a social media video that's useful with a fact in the market. You can use your lore report, language of real estate report from your market center, come up with a good fact that people, would obviously want to know, that would create urgency. Post that video, go like 5 people's posts, go comment on 5 people's posts, and either do 5 direct messages or personal touches based on what you saw. If someone got like a new puppy or something like that. And then, or you could role play the listing consultation.
So can we give some practical, tactical things right here?
Absolutely.
That I think that people always have questions about? And number 1 is on those social media calls or messages. So look, we are all connected to people on social media, whether we like it or not. And yet, people say, well, if I'm going to message them, what do I say? And I think people, Emily, here try and be a little too creative with the messaging. And what we have to know is that it can be very direct and very short and very to the point. So if I were going to go and I were going to start direct messaging people that I'm connected to on social media, I would make it very simple. And here's what it would look like. I would say, hey, Emily, hope all is well. Just checking in to see if you have any real estate needs as we head into 2024. Emoji, emoji, emoji. maybe a house emoji, maybe a New Year's emoji or Christmas wreath or whatever, right? But it doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. Hey, Emily, I hope all is well. I just want to check in to see if you have any real estate needs as we head into 2024.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Aaron, you and I talked, I mean, we talk all the time, y'all. And yet we were talking a few weeks ago, you had a client that sent out 85 of those messages in like 15 minutes and got how many referrals or pieces of business?
Oh, I think that they set like 2 or 3 appointments. I forgot about that one. But yeah, they did exactly the blind faith, because again, what's going to get in the way is we want to judge the people that we have. Well, I'm not going to send them a message, or they don't remember me from 15 years ago. I went to high school with this. It's blind faith. It's just, we take it and we go down the list and we just send the message. And you're surprised at the responses. And we all assume, yeah, but it's been so long. Yeah, but guess what? They're seeing what you're posting. They know you're in real estate. And if not, they know now. And we can't be ashamed of it. And if you want to soften it up a little, by all means, go for it. But again, it's that simple. Hey, Emily, I hope all is well. Just checking in to see if there's any real estate needs we can help you with as we head into 2024. Now, when they respond, and about half of them will respond half long, which is okay. Oftentimes they'll respond, hey, thanks for checking, we're good. Great, glad to hear you're well. Who do you know that's looking to buy or sell right now that I should be talking to? That's the money one, right? Because that's where they now have to think, and we're being very purposeful. There's one more. I know we have 5 options. Can I have one more option?
Yeah.
Because if we don't have a listing appointment, we can choose these options. And I always have the mentality or the mindset that if we're not meeting with a seller, let's at least meet with someone who can give us listings. And so we talked earlier about the boomers downsizing, the seniors transitioning, and the families inheriting property. And by the way, we go through all these lead gen systems in detail in the Mega Listing Agent. I know Debbie was asking about an expired letter. We go through all of that.
Yep.
And when we look at where 75% of listings are coming from, you said it earlier, the people on the front lines of that business are unfortunately not us as real estate agents. We're not the first call. It's other professionals, such as estate planning attorneys, financial planners, CPAs. They oftentimes get the call first before we as the real estate agent know about the opportunity. So would it not behoove us to, if we don't have a listing appointment, let's go meet with an estate planning attorney, because on a weekly basis, they're coming across people that have real estate needs that we can be helping. Let's go meet with them. Or Emily, every time you walk into the bank, on one side you have the tellers, and on the other side, you've got the personal bankers.
Yep.
What do you think they're talking about all day long, those personal bankers? They're talking about people that are calling and asking about real estate. Now, this is on the buy side, but I'm just making the point that these are conduits of people that come across in the course of their job, people with real estate needs that we should probably be in relationship with at a high level.
That's exactly right. And I would just add that if y'all took this as the win the day play and put this on your calendar such that it exists in your schedule, and you focused on just this, do you see how over time you would be a listing machine?
Yeah, you can't list to last if we're not taking the activities, if we're not taking the actions. And here, in fact, there's one more we can put on here. We talked about, golden letters as a fantastic opportunity, which we go through in detail. But in the afternoon, you can hand address, 25 letters to send out. I do my own letters. I look for investment properties, right? I send out 25 a day. It takes me 30 minutes, right? And that's 5 to 6 inbound seller calls that I get every month just by taking 30 minutes a day.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we identify your sources, right? What brings you energy? What do you love to do, right? Or maybe you don't love it yet, but it's not, awful for you to do. And then your goal and you have it visually posted, right? Such that you have that self-accountability, and then you run the win the day play. I would say the biggest thing that people typically on the win the day play that lacks is the role play. And to me, the role play is the most important thing, because when you're comfortable and you know what you're saying, you're confident, right? And when you're confident about something and you know that it's true, because facts trump feelings, then you're not afraid. You're not afraid to have conversations. You're not afraid to send letters or to go pop by and visit these professional referrals. So the role play is the biggest thing, y'all. We have moved from the speed-based market to a skill-based market, and we just have to level up on skill.
Emily, real quick, who's the Will? What's his last name? I'm going to call him a kid because he's a kid. Sorry, Will, but he just turned 22. He was 21 when he was on stage at Mega Camp, and he's going to do over $1 million in GCI from Golden Letters. Now, that's not the headline. The only reason he's going to do over $1 million in GCI as a now 22-year-old from, thank you, Ruth, from Golden Letters is because he committed to role playing and practicing and internalizing the conversations needed to make the system work.
That's right.
Because a lot of people send letters that don't get results. And it's not because the letter didn't work, it's because they didn't have the skill set to have the conversation to make it work.
That's exactly right. Yep. Awesome. So, y'all, we are launching the Mega Listing Agent in January. Put it in the chat if your goal is to crush listings in 2024. Just put yes. Should be almost 200 people on this call. Yes.
And I see you. I know your goal. I see you.
Okay. So, Aaron, what's the Mega Listing Agent?
Look, the Mega Listing Agent is a comprehensive 9-week course where we go from soup to nuts on the listing process. We start with 3 weeks worth of lead generation techniques in detail.
That's right.
We then transition to the pre-appointment. How many of you guys have a dialed-in pre-list package? Not enough of you, right? We then go into the actual appointment itself, best practices, right? In terms of, you've been on umpteen, I've been on, a million of them as well. We go through the full presentation. And then, of course, we wrap up with now what? What do we do to turn those listings into more referrals? And of course, to manage our listing inventory, right, through price reductions and through the closing. So it's a complete system from soup to nuts.
Yep. So one of the questions we get a lot is, do you provide the systems? Yes. Do you provide the conversations previously known as scripts? Yes. Do you provide templates? Yes. So, and then Aaron and I role play live on these calls so you all can hear it. So we put the content into context for you, depending. We'll go through the top 16 lead sources in detail with the conversation, the system, as well as what you would need to implement and execute. So QR codes here. Register, don't miss out. We are launching January 10th. We are 9 weeks consecutive on Wednesdays at 1:30 Central. And it is broken up into 2 payments. So that's pretty cool. $250 twice.
We'll take Canadians.
The sessions are an hour. They are all recorded as well. So that's another question that we get is they are all recorded, and you will have access to the recordings 60 days post our final session. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. We will look forward to seeing you next week when we go through the Price is Right. And like Aaron said, the price is wrong and how we get it right.
There you go. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you all next week.
Awesome. Bye.